Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most shocking developments in the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. The Crimea Bridge, once hailed by Moscow as an unshakable symbol of Russian strength, has once again been struck, leaving Russia to face a situation many are calling impossible. This bridge, a crucial link connecting Russia to the annexed Crimean Peninsula, has become both a physical and psychological battleground. Each strike against it doesn't just damage infrastructure, it shatters the illusion of security that Russia has tried so hard to project. The explosion on the Crimea Bridge has sent shockwaves across the region. For Russia, this bridge isn't just a road, it's a lifeline. It carries essential supplies, military hardware, and serves as a direct connection to occupied territories. Now, after another massive strike, that lifeline is hanging by a thread. The latest damage has reportedly disrupted both road and rail traffic, creating logistical nightmares for Russian forces struggling to sustain their war efforts in southern Ukraine. The symbolic blow is even greater. It represents a clear message that no Russian stronghold is beyond Ukraine's reach. Since the first attack on the bridge back in 2022, Russia has poured enormous resources into protecting and repairing it. Despite layers of air defenses, surveillance systems, and constant patrols, Ukraine has managed to strike it again. This exposes deep vulnerabilities within Russia's military infrastructure. The bridge's destruction also underscores the growing capabilities of Ukraine's long-range strike systems and drone warfare. Kyiv's forces have consistently demonstrated innovation and precision, using limited resources to achieve significant results. Each successful hit chips away at Russia's confidence and reinforces Ukraine's resilience. For the Kremlin, the Crimea Bridge has always been more than just concrete and steel. When it was opened in 2018, Vladimir Putin himself drove across it in a show of triumph. It symbolized Russia's power, permanence, and its claim over Crimea. But every explosion that damages it now represents the unraveling of that narrative. The latest strike doesn't just cripple transportation. It strikes at the heart of Putin's image. The bridge was his personal project, a monument to Russian control. Watching it fall apart time after time is a bitter humiliation for Moscow's leadership. The scale of the damage this time appears to be severe. Satellite images and eyewitness accounts reveal sections of the roadway twisted and destroyed. Large fires reportedly broke out following the attack, causing panic among Russian drivers and soldiers stationed nearby. Emergency response teams rushed to the scene, but videos from the area suggest chaos and confusion. Russian media tried to downplay the extent of the damage, but online footage tells a different story. Smoke billowing from the bridge and debris scattered across the water are powerful reminders that the war is creeping closer to Russia's doorstep. Ukraine has remained tight-lipped about the details of the operation as usual. However, sources suggest it may have been a combined strike using sea drones and precision-guided missiles. These tactics have become a hallmark of Ukraine's strategy, targeting critical infrastructure that supports the Russian occupation. Rather than fighting large-scale ground battles, Ukraine is using strategic strikes to weaken Russia's ability to sustain its war machine. The Crimea Bridge, being one of the most valuable assets in that network, is a prime target. Every time it's hit, Russia is forced to divert troops, equipment, and attention to defend or rebuild it, spreading their forces thin. The reaction from Moscow has been a mix of anger and desperation. Russian officials have promised swift retaliation, blaming Western-supplied weapons for the attack. Propaganda outlets are once again trying to spin the event as a minor setback. Yet beneath the surface, the frustration is evident. Russian military bloggers, many of whom have been loyal to the Kremlin, are openly questioning how such a critical structure could be hit again despite heavy defenses. They're demanding answers and accountability from the very leadership that claimed the bridge was untouchable. Meanwhile, Ukrainians are celebrating the strike as a major victory. For them, the Crimea Bridge represents the physical embodiment of Russian occupation. Its repeated destruction is a sign that liberation, while costly, is possible. On social media, Ukrainian users are sharing memes, videos, and patriotic messages. The morale boost from this success is significant. In a war where every inch of territory is fought over fiercely, moments like this remind Ukrainians that persistence pays off. It reinforces their belief that Crimea and all occupied lands can one day return to Ukrainian control. The impact of the strike goes far beyond symbolism. Logistically, The bridge's destruction creates immediate challenges for Russian forces in southern Ukraine. Supply chains are disrupted, ammunition and fuel deliveries are delayed, and troop reinforcements are harder to move. The alternative routes are longer and more vulnerable to further Ukrainian attacks. This gives Kyiv's forces an advantage as they continue pressing on the southern front. Military analysts believe this could weaken Russia's defensive positions and open up new opportunities for Ukraine's counteroffensive operations. Internationally, the event has reignited debates over Crimea's future. Western nations have praised Ukraine's courage and strategic precision, while urging caution to avoid escalation. Russia, on the other hand, has accused NATO of direct involvement, a claim with little evidence but heavy propaganda value. The strike also exposes how fragile Russia's grip on Crimea truly is. Despite all the fortifications, bases, and propaganda, it's clear that Ukraine can reach into the peninsula whenever it chooses. That realization alone is a strategic victory for Kyiv. For Putin, the political fallout could be even more damaging than the physical destruction. His government has built its legitimacy on the idea of strength, stability, and control. But each successful Ukrainian strike undermines that image. Russian citizens, already weary from economic sanctions and mounting casualties, are losing faith in the government's promises. The repeated attacks on the bridge make it increasingly difficult for Moscow to maintain the illusion of invincibility. Every explosion becomes a public embarrassment, one that Putin cannot easily ignore. Reports indicate that security around the bridge has been intensified yet again. Anti-drone systems, underwater barriers, and naval patrols are all being reinforced. But as history has shown, no amount of defense seems to be enough. Ukraine continues to adapt, innovate, and find weaknesses. This cycle of attack and repair is draining Russian resources and morale. The cost of maintaining the bridge now likely outweighs its strategic benefit. What was once a proud symbol of connection has become a constant reminder of vulnerability. The world is watching closely as events unfold. For Ukraine, each successful strike is a step toward reclaiming occupied territory and proving its resilience to the world. For Russia, it's a moment of reckoning, a reminder that no fortress is truly safe in modern warfare. The Crimea Bridge, once meant to bind Crimea to Russia, is now a fracture line exposing the cracks in Moscow's grand ambitions. As both sides prepare for what comes next, the destruction of the bridge could mark a turning point. If Russia cannot secure its most vital routes, sustaining a long-term occupation becomes increasingly difficult. This reality may force strategic recalculations in Moscow, possibly even reshaping the trajectory of the entire conflict. Some analysts suggest that continued attacks on such infrastructure could push Russia toward negotiations, while others warn it might provoke even harsher retaliation. Either way, the message from Kyiv is unmistakable: Crimea is not beyond reach. In the broader context of the war, this event reflects the evolution of modern conflict, where drones, intelligence, and precision matter more than sheer numbers. Ukraine has shown the world how determination, strategy, and adaptability can challenge even the most powerful adversaries. The strike on the Crimea Bridge is not just a military achievement, it's a statement of defiance, a reminder that the will to fight for freedom cannot be broken by intimidation. The destruction also sends a clear warning to other regions under Russian control. If the Crimea Bridge can be struck again, then no base, supply depot, or command center is safe. This psychological pressure is already taking its toll on Russian troops stationed in occupied territories. Reports suggest rising anxiety and desertions as soldiers question their safety and leadership. For Ukraine, this psychological advantage could be just as valuable as any battlefield gain. While the Kremlin scrambles to repair both the bridge and its reputation, the world sees the bigger picture, a superpower struggling to maintain control in the face of relentless resistance. Each time the bridge falls, it brings Ukraine one step closer to reclaiming its land and dignity. The war is far from over, but this moment will be remembered as one of the defining blows to Russia's campaign. As we look ahead, one thing is certain: the fight for Crimea is entering a new phase. The repeated destruction of the bridge shows that Ukraine is not backing down, and Russia is running out of easy answers. The coming months will test both nations' endurance, strategy, and resolve. But the image of the shattered bridge, the broken symbol of Russian dominance, will remain etched in history. Thank you for watching. If you found this breakdown insightful, don't forget to like the video, share it with others who follow global developments, and subscribe to the channel for more updates on this ongoing conflict. The story of the Crimea Bridge is still unfolding, and we'll continue to bring you the latest as it happens. Stay tuned and stay informed, because this is just the beginning of a turning point that could reshape the future of the war in Ukraine.